Hello, everyone, and welcome in. It's Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Sure hope this goes smoother than last night. I'm not off to a great start, Jeremy, with the People's Fantasy Court. First episode, I got no viewers because someone forgot to attach the link to the stream. That guy. Second one's going great. I got Mike going against Hall of Famer Greg Kellogg. I'm about 5 minutes in. I don't know if you've seen it. 5 minutes in, Storm knocks my power out. No. I'm sitting here watching on my phone, but the problem is we're on the League Winners StreamYard now. My phone still has my account, so I'm trying to log in on my phone in the meantime, but I need Tom to send me a confirmation code to get in, so I have to wait. Took me nearly 10 minutes to get back into the stream. I must have been doing a great job because I'm watching, and about 5 minutes later, I hear Greg say, "Please, Judge, could you present Exhibit B for me?" I think it took him 5 minutes to notice I wasn't even in the stream anymore. I think we lost him a few minutes ago. So, yep, a majority of episode 2 went on without me even in the courtroom. So,
yeah, I was listening to the car and I was wondering. I was like, I haven't heard Aaron's voice for a while. What the hell's going on? And then it's like, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
All of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I forget what I went to do, and I was like, what the fuck? It just went dark. The whole house went dark. So. Took me a while.
You ruled for me in episode 1, so you can do no wrong in my eyes, except for the fact that Pat Mahomes went for like 50 plus points last week.
I know.
MVS.
Dennis is going to tweet us every time he does good. You know that, right? But
too funny.
So so we've had 2 solid episodes that I don't believe anyone in the world has actually seen. But great show. Tune in Wednesdays if you get a chance. We need a live jury.
These points here are very
detailed,
specific. Yeah.
Doing to the thousands of decimals.
The 100,000th place.
Oh goodness! Yeah, Baker's got 5. What the hell?
I don't know why that happened.
And year to date, Baker's got 8 points. This thing's broken. I don't know what's going on.
What the fuck happened?
How dare you say Baker only got 8 points? He got 8.63384 points.
He's got 0.2. How do you get 0.2 points? Broken.
You know what those are, right? That was so we're gonna go graphic free today. Is what we're gonna do.
Oh no,
okay.
No. You know what those are, right? I copied them over for the wrong article. Those are for started fantasy points. That's how you have decimals. So. Because I'm sitting there going, how the fuck do I'm like, I have decimal scoring, but I don't think I have that decimal scoring. What did I program in? 1.23475? Like, what did I use pi as my PPR value? Like 3.146. Like, what the fuck is going on? So,
this is going well.
Okay, yes. I'm glad are they all like that?
I wouldn't have it any other way, Aaron.
I mean,
for fuck's sakes.
Entertainment values through the roof. That's all I can say.
Look, if your podcast doesn't have the 10,000th place
lazy
decimal point, come on, they're not. Are they even really fantasying? Come on.
Okay, so I'm going to note that for the purposes of this podcast, I meant to do this, and these are the started points for each player. It's just an indication of how consistent they've been. I wanted to show you this. Any podcast can show you how many points they've scored, but you need to see how consistent they are. So that's why I intentionally did this. It was on purpose. I definitely didn't fuck up all the graphics. I swear.
No, that's good. Makes sense. Just shows you how much better Mike Evans has been than Chris Godwin. So suck Chris Godwin lovers. Mike Evans for life.
Well, it just shows you also that when Mike Evans is started, he's actually coming through for you. Yeah. Whereas Godwin, who has a similar start range, is producing half. So it also goes to show you that nobody's still starting Baker. So it's oddly beneficial because it just goes to show you which players are basically useless completely for fantasy because even when they do score, they're not helping you. So we will get into it on a wonderfully fast-paced and exciting start to the show. Kill me now. All right, we'll start with the QBs in Bucs at Bills, the Thursday nighter. It is the second worst matchup for Baker Mayfield. That doesn't matter because he's Baker Mayfield, so you're not playing him unless it's super flex, and even then, it's probably rough. Josh Allen, 19th best matchup, so it's middle of the pack. You're starting him as a top 2 or 3 option. Not sure where he ranks for me. He is actually 4, so he's not a 2 or 3. I'm a liar. What do you guys think?
Just a quick question to clarify. Are the Bills the second worst matchup because this is a Houston Texans situation from last year and teams can just run all over them because they're decimated all over the place, or do they actually have a decent back end? I think it's the first part. Yeah.
No, they're the 12th best matchup for running backs. This is more of a case where, I think they're decimated all over the place, and I don't think it's impacted. Like I said, they're the second worst fantasy matchup, but I think this is going to, for quarterbacks, I think this is going to gradually get better and better and better because they don't have anyone. So I think they were just living on a good start, and it's going to plummet now.
Yeah, and just let's see, just to, I guess, hammer that point home, the Bills have played the Jets, the Raiders, the Commanders. Those were the first 3 weeks when they were a good defense. And then they limited Miami, Trevor Lawrence in week 5, which has been difficult. And then 2 weeks ago, that was either Daniel Jones or Tyrod or a combo of both. And then Mac Jones, who actually ripped them apart. So it's not exactly the gauntlet of quarterbacks thus far.
Yeah, and Baker's been pretty good against zone coverage. He's completing like 68% of his passes against zone coverage, which the Bills have run a lot of. So like he might actually be like decent to stream this week. I don't think it's going to be. It's like how much pressure can they get on him? If they can get to him consistently, that's trouble. He still throws picks. He has 4 picks against zone coverage, so there's that as well. So that's a little bit of turnovers, but it's Mike Evans. You got him. You lock him in, and you're just good to go with him. So like he's like my QB 20 this week, so it's not great, but like you could do worse than him, I think.
Yeah, and their starting guard is out too. It matters more for the run game than a tackle would, but still something to consider.
As far as running backs go, these are 2 of the more disappointing ones for me. I thought they would both be good, but I guess it just goes to show you that maybe workload isn't the only thing to consider. 12th best matchup for Rashad White. 7th worst matchup for James Cook. It's not a great matchup for Cook. It's a good matchup for White. I think they're both in the mid to low end RB2 range for me. They're both very scary. White gets more in the pass game, but doesn't seem to do much with it. Neither of them is all that efficient. Neither of them is really a touchdown scorer. I'm going to double check my rankings here while you guys talk, but I probably have them in the low end 2 range. I Cook at 17, White at 26. So.
Yeah, White needs that pass volume. Like he had 6 targets last week and catches, so like that was a good sign from him. But he's been inefficient all year on the ground, and the line's just not that good for creating space and running. So there's gonna be more issues. Like I get it, the Bills' defense is decimated, but like just I haven't seen much out of the Bills' rushing attack all season, the Bucs' rushing attack all season, where I'm confident in White on the ground. It's through the air, and they're more than likely going to be trailing in this game. The Bills' offense is at home; it's going to be a heavy lead. So yeah, like I don't mind rolling with White this week. I have him a few spots ahead of my guy James Cook, but like I'm playing both guys in this matchup.
Yeah, they're right next to each other for sure. I would lean, I agree, White over Cook, but I don't mind either one. Like you said, you're not expecting them to light the world on fire, but they'll be fine as RB2s.
I think I have Cook over White, but anyways, wide receiver, bottom 12 matchup for the Bucs, middle of the pack matchup there for Stephon Diggs and the Bills. I have Diggs as my 2 this week, and I think I have Mike Evans. Where's he? Is my top ranked? He's 13th. So I've got a 1 and kind of a borderline 1. Excuse me. And then you got to go all the way down to the wide receiver 3 range for Chris Godwin. Gabe Davis at 37. So you've got 2 pretty much must starts here and 2 kind of can starts. I think I'd rather start Godwin over Gabe, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, same thing. Like Godwin's a bigger focal point of that offense. It's just I don't think he has a touchdown on the year. Like there's that's some crazy stuff going on with Godwin this season, so he's due for a touchdown regression. But yeah, like I don't trust Gabe. It's just super hit or miss and depends on the game matchup. But yeah, you're rolling with those 2 studs. And then if you want to play Godwin, go for it. It's just I'm not as bullish as I was going into the season on Godwin. It just hasn't been great for him. He hasn't been a focal point of that offense like I've been. So yeah, it's kind of just lowering his floor and ceiling a little bit this year.
Yeah, 5.5 yards per target last week. 12 targets, just 6 receptions. Atlanta can lock them down, certainly. Buffalo, I don't think is going to be that difficult, but yeah, I agree with you. It's Diggs, Evans, Godwin, and Gabe much lower. Aaron, we have a few questions from SC in the chat. So much for ripping through these matchups quickly.
White. I'm playing White.
Gotta go to work. Godwin or White? I'm going White.
Agree.
White. Yeah, I just trust him more.
Otten is a guy I'm stashing, and I was about to get into him. I don't know if I want him for DFS just yet.
It's got to be bottom of the barrel price, though, right? Like, I don't love it, but if you're stacked everywhere else, I don't hate it either.
He's on the field for like 98% of offensive snaps. He's just not getting the targets yet. It's not going. But, so that'll transition me into.
Do we lose him?
Nope.
I think we lost him. All right. So since he's frozen, I'll say since Tre'Davious White's been out, the Bills have allowed 5 wide receivers to go over 60+ yards, like in matchups against them. So like expect Evans to be heavily involved. He's going to be like a guy, and he's going to see 10 targets again, and like he could have a monster game. So I wouldn't worry about Evans like at all in this matchup. Their defense is just shredded. So, and it's absurd against zone coverage. He's got 3.2 yards per target and a 30% like target share. Like Evans has been. Usually he's a man beater guy, but he's been great against zone. But do you want to talk about tight ends? And like we can go into
just Otten. Otten actually came alive last week. 6 targets, 5 receptions, 43 yards. He's not lighting the world on fire, but that's what you like to see out of the tight end. If he catches a touchdown, he's a top 6 play for sure last week. So you absolutely can start him against Buffalo, who has nobody still, there. I think most teams would kind of try to run it down their throat as they've been doing the last few weeks. I mean, the Patriots certainly had Ramondre and Zeke both viable in that win last week, which is that was amazing, but also ridiculous that the Patriots pulled that off, right? And Mike Gesicki called the game-winning touchdown, right? So Cade Otton is viable. You can do anything you want against this Buffalo Bills defense right now, sadly. But I'm good. So to answer the question, I'm good with playing him in DFS, and you'll be loaded everywhere else.
I will say, they have, the thing with the Bills defense against tight ends, they haven't had a guy go with double-digit points all year against them. So, it's been risky with them. And then that's been they've still been pretty good against them. Even though Gesicki caught that touchdown, nobody got double digits in that matchup. So, it's he's a fine dart throw is the way I kind of look at Otten. He's in my tight end 23 range where I have no confidence in that. But I can do that. And then on the flip side, Kincaid, he saw what we wanted to see where he's becoming the guy in that offense because Gabe Davis isn't really him. We know this now. So, they're using Kincaid, and it was a lot of check down stuff. But, the fact he was running the route, seeing the targets without Dawson Knox, he's top 8 tight end moving forward for me. I'm ranking him above Kyle Pitts rest of the season and just going with it. So that's where I'm at with Kincaid. I'm just forget you, Kyle Pitts. I ain't doing this anymore with you. So it could burn me with Kincaid, but I'm pretty bullish on him in that offense. He's just gonna live in the intermediate area of that offense. So if it works out the way it does, you have a guy who you found on waivers who could be a starting tight end, lock it in. That's what we dream of. So I'm really excited to see this matchup for him.
Yeah. And, we know with Pitts, though, John, who's still involved, we know that Kincaid has the next 4 weeks to himself. So that's going to be really nice to see. I was a big Gabe Davis believer early in the season. Allen was trusting him. Over the last few weeks, he's just fallen off a cliff. That's all going to Kincaid. I mean, when your choices are Davis or Khalil Shakir, and you're kicking it to Shakir, Kincaid has a shot to go nuclear. So 8 for 75 last week. He should do it again. We have one more question here. Oh, this is the SC's lineup.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. Allen, Diggs, Kincaid, White, and Otten.
Woo!
Yeah. I assume Allen is this is where you have what do they even call that, Jesse? I haven't been able to play.
The DFS stuff you're
Thursday night, but you're the king or whatever. You're the guy who gets extra points, so that's got to be Allen here.
Yeah. So if the way I look at it, the captain status stuff is people will try to go off of that because he's going to be the highest roster guy. It's between Baker or Josh Allen, right? You're going to go Josh Allen. Yeah. So a lot of times people will get tricky with their captains. So somebody will probably put Otten in there, or they'll put somebody lower on the total poll, and then if they hit, then it's how they win. But right. You roll with Josh. Diggs, Kincaid, like I love those three in particular going DFS. Like that's money. And then you get Rashad White, and it's like, you can't go wrong. It's always fun when it's an island game because you only have 20 guys to pick from basically. So
not this one. You got a lot less than 20. You're not. We just said you're not throwing Gabe Davis in there.
All right. So Aaron said he's going to be coming back in a minute. So we will just move on to the next game. Well, actually, let's cover the defenses and the tight ends. Yeah, we'll jump into them. So we got McLaughlin. We got Bass. I don't know really. Tight end's not my jam. So I'm going to check these scores real quick. Bass is the kicker 12. McLaughlin's the kicker 25. I'm going to check rankings really quick and see. How are you viewing these kickers in this matchup?
I mean, I would play both of them, to be honest. We know Buffalo can move the ball, but Tampa's kind of just good enough to maybe stop them in the red zone. So Bass should be fine, whether it's field goals or touchdowns. And then on the other side, McLaughlin is going to I don't even know if he's been great because, like you said, kicker's not for me. But against this decimated Buffalo defense, again, you have a situation where Tampa can move the ball just enough. So I'd play both of them. They're probably back-end kicker ones, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, as Aaron says, he says, start Bass, stream McLaughlin if you have to. It makes sense. That offense is just risky in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield's been up and down. So, if they're not able to produce yards, get themselves field goal range, that's the issue. It's a pretty big gap on the spread of these two. So, obviously, Bass is going to have plenty of opportunities. It's just if he gets the field goals or if they just score a ton of touchdowns, that's kind of where it is. But, the floor is super high with them, so I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
And then we go to defenses. And I know, the Bills have that name cachet, and they've been good in matchups, but, it's super hit or miss, as you can tell. There's a couple matchups against Washington, Miami, Jacksonville. But since those injuries have kicked in, the Giants and New England, they got decimated by New England and didn't do anything. So I really don't want to play the Bills defense in this matchup. I get it. It seems very good in this, but I'm more not so much. And then the Buccaneers, their defense is just middle of the road. They've had some decent performers. They were solid against Atlanta. Neither one of those teams could move the ball well at all. I was watching the game tape and I was like, yeah, these defenses are just better. That's just what it is. Yep. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna check rankings really quick. How would you who would you prefer? Would you rather start the Bills or would you play any of these defenses?
God, Baker's been so much better than I thought he would be, and I still don't trust his ass. So it's definitely Bills, no matter the state. I mean, they're probably if you look at who they're rolling out there, they're probably one of the the bottom 5 defenses in the league right now, just because of injury. And I'll still play them over the Bucs because they can still get after the quarterback. I mean, Epinesa is in there, and he's like a third stringer, and he still has the ability to get to the QB. As for the Bucs, no, I don't want to play anybody really facing Josh Allen. We know he can go off any week.
Yeah, my whole thought process is you could definitely play Buffalo's defense, but I'm just lowering the floor with them, moving forward, just how decimated they are. So they're not an auto lock in play, where you're oh yeah, I'm playing the Bills defense this week. Right. There's other defenses we'll talk about. We can target. Hey, there he is. Is he back?
But I'll drop him and pick up someone better like Atlanta this week. Aaron,
welcome back, my friend.
I think that storm surge fried my computer or something. I had this. I forget what I was doing. Oh, I was recording something earlier. And it shorted out once. I don't know why my computer just starts shorting out. So I may have a serious problem, but I'm going to have to start loading things up. We also have 30 to 40 minutes left, and we've only done one game. So
all right, let's move.
Let's
I'm
move
get
on.
us in here, and we're going to we're going to have to fire through these because of the technical issues.
Cool.
Let's remove that. I'm not having a good week here as far as the show is concerned. It's not been great. All right. So.
All right.
You guys want to start off talking about Herbert and Fields while I try to get everything loaded back up?
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Herbert should dominate against Chicago. I have no issue there. He's been a suspect. I'm not sure who it was, Jesse, if it was you or if it was Tom, someone at the League Winners was putting kind of tape together and mentioning that Herbert looks a lot like a one-read QB at the, and that one read is Keenan Allen, right? But as it should be when you look at the rest of this roster. Still, it's the Chicago Bears. I'm not scared. They put it to the dumpster fire of the Las Vegas Raiders last week. That's an anomaly, man. Fire up Herbert. I'm sure he's a top 8 option at worst this week. What do you think about Herbert?
Yeah, Herbert's stud. You just have to bet on the talent in the situation. Like Tom was right. Like he just does not look the same. Like I don't know what's going on with that offense, and they're figuring it out. So like I'm not as high as I was on going to the year. You still trust some of the offense, like they're gonna score points on that. On the flip side, if you really want to roll the dice this week, you go target Tyson Bagent because the Chargers matchup is a good matchup, but yeah, it's risky as hell. So like it's basically deep super flex leagues, the only leagues I would consider playing Bagent matchup. No matter even if you play the Chargers, like I just we're gonna sit back and just watch this go. If you're desperate, like sure you can do it, but I don't want to do it.
You can't be that desperate. I mean, look, Bagent was fine last week, but he played a terrible team. And now there's NFL tape on the man, right? So, you know what they're doing with him in real game situations. Maybe he gets by with another decent game this week, but sooner rather than later, they're going to eat him alive. So I'm not risking it this week.
Yeah. Running backs, 5th best matchup for the Bears, 7th best for the Chargers. Both these teams kind of scare me. I don't know if I want to trust Deonta Foreman to score that much again. Don't know if Roshan's back. The Chargers, Eckler is a weekly must start, but hasn't looked so lately. They seem to be doing some load management here. You got to start Eckler still, and I don't know what you do with the Bears. I probably can flex Roshan or Foreman, but I have zero confidence in either of them. What do you guys think?
Yeah, same thing.
Well,
there's no. Oh, you go ahead.
I was just going to say there's no buys this week, right? So I'm not looking to squeeze a Bears RB into my lineup. The only way I would do it is if Roshan is ruled out, which is possible. But if Roshan plays, I want nothing to do with it. It's Austin Eckler way ahead of those guys. And if Roshan plays, I'm playing Kelly over the two.
So the weird thing about Kelly is like you need a touchdown, and he got one last week. That's how he got the big touchdown run, right? And that kind of killed Eckler. So Eckler is just it's weird what's going on with the Chargers. But you got to start him. He's too good of talent. Like his usage and all that stuff's great. And then on the flip side, whichever of the Bears running back you want to play, go for it. But like the floor is lower with both of them. I would flex either Foreman if you trust him to ground and pound and win, or if you think they're going to struggle, go Roshan. But like I'm coming off that back-to-back week concussion. I'm just curious. I don't really want to touch Roshan until let's see how it works out for him.
Yeah, but if he's playing. If he's playing in this game, he's likely to get more of the passing work than Foreman. So I'd probably fire him up over Deonta.
All right. Receivers, middle of the pack matchup for the Chargers, 8th worst matchup for the Bears. I'm starting Keenan Allen as a mid to high end wide receiver 1. Palmer, I guess you can flex. Quentin Johnston's a stash at best. DJ Moore's a low end 1, high end 2 for me, and I'm starting nobody else on the Bears receiving core. You guys?
Yeah. Right there with you. So Keenan Allen struggled a little bit since Mike Williams has been off the team with the injury, so it's not been as promising as we hoped it has been. But like you started him, he's a wide receiver 1 moving forward the rest of the season. Same thing with DJ Moore. He's like a little bit lower. So because he's playing with Bagent, I'm not 100% convinced this is going to work out. So I drop into like the mid-range wide receiver 2, but you're playing him. And then you take Palmer's been by far the better wide receiver for the Chargers. So Palmer's a solid flex play for me. And then no other wide receiver for Chicago. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, you can't trust Quentin Johnston. He may blow up. He may have a Jameson Williams line of like 1 catch for 45 yards and a touchdown, but you just can't trust it. Otherwise, I'm in lockstep with you guys.
14th best matchup for the Chargers tight end, 19th for the Bears tight ends. I'm stashing Parham. Don't really want to play Everett or Kmet. I guess they're streamable if you have to. I think Kmet has more potential. Everett's more touchdown dependent. Moving on to the kickers. Top 9 matchup for Dicker. He hasn't been great, but you can stream him if you have to. Cairo Santos, bad matchup, bad kicker. I am avoiding him. And the DSTs, it's the 4th best matchup for the Chargers, who will probably be one of my top 6 defenses this week. And it is, it says the it's the 6th best matchup for the Bears. I'm not sure I want to trust that. I know the Chargers have struggled and looked bad, but that's like last week they got the Chiefs. The Chiefs were a good defense. I don't think they're going to struggle against a bad defense, and I think they'll probably put up 30. So I don't really want to play the Bears. I like the Chargers. Any disagreements there?
No, the tight ends are both just like you kind of hope and pray they get a touchdown is the way I look at them. Like you just can't trust them. And the defenses, Chargers for sure over the Bears defense.
And Bagent completed 21 of 29 passes last week, which seems good. Again, it was the Raiders. Cole Kmet caught 0 on 0 targets. So I don't really want to start either of them.
Fair enough. Next up, we've got Bengals at 49ers. Let's start with the quarterbacks, I guess. 12th best matchup. If I'd learn how to count. 12th best matchup here for Joe Burrow. I know he's been a scary start. He's probably a low-end QB1 for me this week. QB2 at worst. On the other side of the ball, middle of the pack matchup for Purdy, who is probably only a few spots below Burrow this week, but I see him as probably a mid-range QB2. What do you think about these two?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you trust Burrow, like he's kind of figured it out. The offense is kind of writing himself a little bit, so you roll with Burrow, even against a great matchup. Like you're still starting him. I would much rather start him than Purdy. Purdy's like a mid-range, but he's dealing with that concussion, so I don't know what's going on necessarily with him until it gets figured out. So like I'm just gonna be hands off with Purdy until we figure out if he's playing or not. And if they go to freaking Sam Darnold, just no thank you. I don't want to deal with Sam Darnold. We've seen who he is, so if he comes in, I'm just not playing him.
Yeah, agree. And on the other side, like Kirk Cousins, of all people, carved up San Francisco last week, right? We know that a lesser Joe Burrow than what Joe Burrow's usually been in this offense is still at least as competent as Minnesota without JJ. So, I'll fire up Burrow. No issue there.
Running backs, middle of the pack matchup for both McCaffrey and Mixon. Mixon at this point, until this offense gets its shit together, I think Mixon's an RB2. CMC is, he's Jesus, so yeah. He's an easy player. Any disagreements?
No, I mean, Mixon is really just a volume play at this point. You're hoping he falls into the end zone. It's certainly possible, but he's not being relied upon nearly as much as you'd like, and it's because he's going for about 3 yards a carry. So they're going to pass him 50 yards. Yeah. Not for me.
If he could ever be efficient, I would just love to see it once in my lifetime. Goddamn it, Joe Mixon. Like just once. Just give us an efficient game. That's all I'm asking. The usage is great, so you play him, but you just don't feel good about it.
That's asking a lot. As far as receivers go, it is the 4th best matchup for Jamar Chase, who is a must start despite the struggles here. Probably also don't mind starting T. Higgins, but he's more of a low-end 2 for me nowadays. On the other side of the ball, we have a pop-up on my screen. We have Brandon Ayuk and the Niners get the 18th best matchup, so middle of the pack to low-end. Is Debo on IR or is he just out? He's out, right?
This week.
He's not on IR.
Okay, so Ayuk, I think, is a must start. I am as probably a low-end 1, high-end 2. But so I'm starting both Bengals and one Niner. I think I have it. Chase, Ayuk, Higgins. What do you guys got?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, those rankings. We need to see it from T. Like, he's did some decent usage, but gosh, it's been inefficient. He's been dealing with his injury. Then we have, the quarterback's injury on top of it. So it's just been the worst case scenario for him. Like, I do like him moving forward, but like, you just still need to see what you have the confidence. But yeah, I have Higgins at like wide receiver 30. Ayuk's like wide receiver 20 for me, I think. And Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. He's a wide receiver 1 every week. Like, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase.
I don't hate flexing Jennings. Maybe you picked him up off of waivers this week. I don't know he's going to do what he did last week, but we know that Bengals back end has been awesome. Taylor Britt has been amazing so far this season. They could limit Ayuk, which could potentially open up more targets for Jennings. So I don't hate it.
Jesus. One technical glitch after another. I'm not going to lie. I wish I didn't have to go back to work. I'm going to start drinking during these shows. Tight ends. We've got the 6th best matchup for Kittle, who seems to be a boom or bust mid-range tight end 1. If you got him, play him. I have him. I got to play him. I don't love it, but it is what it is. Irv Smith, 28 best matchup. He's a sit until he does something. Kind of a disappointing career. I always had hope for him, but he's not getting there. Kicker, Jake Moody has been impressive as a rookie. 10th best matchup. I am starting him. McPherson has been disappointing and gets the 20th best matchup, but I'm probably going to keep going back to him and hope he turns it around. I like Moody better, though. Defenses here, I don't want either of them. The Bengals are 26th best matchup. Get the 26th best, and it's the 21st for the Niners. I'm sure somewhere you're going to have to start one of these, probably the Niners if you have them. This is one of those weeks where I would prefer to carry a second DST. If you have the Niners, I just get rid of the Bengals. But if you have the Niners, I don't mind streaming a second DST because I don't want to face the Bengals as much as they've looked bad. They look like they may have gotten things back on track. What do you guys think?
Yeah, right there with you. And I will say it's the fact that Debo's out, like it boosts Kittle in my ranking. So like Kittle's a lock in, like starting tight end. He saw 7 targets, which is the second most of the season last week. So yeah, like I'm all aboard that.
Yeah, and if you still have Irv Smith, drop him immediately.
That's just me. Like I said,
Irv was my boy. Nope, no more.
Word's hurt.
Cincinnati is where tight ends go to die, Aaron. So.
Especially bad tight ends.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah.
You're just mean. That's just mean. Hey. All right, next up we got Chiefs Broncos. Chiefs and Broncos. Speaking of dead things, we have Russell Wilson, who gets the 29th best matchup, so it's dog shit. This Chiefs secondary is pretty good, led by L'Jarius Sneed. I want Wilson only in – oh, my God. Fuck me. I can't get anything right this week. Would anyone like to tell me why Jared Goff looks so fucking ridiculous?
Where is he?
I don't know 15. What we're talking about.
15.
You lost me.
Oh.
We still have the Chiefs Broncos up.
You're right. Yeah. I'm having a bad day. I'm on my matchup guide. Which, if you scroll to the league winners and go to my matchup guide, Jared Goff is a picture of Russell Wilson.
Yes, that's how good he is, baby. He's back. Russell Wilson. So, like,
I'm just going to pretend that like that was just an elite level troll. But moving on, I'm having a bad week, man. I can't get shit right. I've been sick all week. Fucking kill me. Anyways, back to this game. Russell Wilson, play him in a super flex if you've got to. He sucks. Try and avoid him. Yeah. I have super flex leagues where I'm not playing him this week. Mahomes, third best matchup, probably best quarterback. I think he's my QB1 this week. Start him. Thoughts?
Yeah. I only have Hurts above Mahomes this week. But yeah, like Mahomes, he's the top 4 every week moving forward. Like, I don't even care. I know we had the discussion on the fantasy court, but yeah, Team Mahomes, right? And then Russell Wilson, it's ugly, but he finds ways to put up fantasy points. So he's my QB20, but I got to start him in one league, and I don't feel great about it. And I'm like, you know what? Same. Let's just go, Russell. He's dead, so he can't die, but he's still playing. So
what is dead can never die. He is gonna do terribly this week. But if you got to start him, start him.
Yeah.
Moving on to the running backs. Best matchup for Isaiah Pacheco, who I am strangely high on lately. Yeah. I like him. He is I think he's a low-end RB1 for me. Javonte Williams, it is a kind of a scary matchup, 5th worst. Javonte looked good last week. He looks like he's got the job back. He's almost back to full health. I expect Javonte to really pick it up in the second half. He's probably still only a low-end RB2 this week for me. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, Javonte just worries me a little bit because McLaughlin's just going to – if they're down by a lot and, like, they could be in this game – he kind of cuts into his passing game usage, so that just worries me. So Javonte's a lot lower. He's like a low-end RB2 for me this week. But, yeah, Pacheco you, like, ride with because it could be a boom game for Pacheco. So he's my RB8, and I am all aboard the Pacheco train. Like,
oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Choo-choo. Sorry. All right, moving on to wide receiver. Middle of the pack matchup for the Chiefs, who seem to have had Rashee Rice emerge as an RB wide receiver 1. I don't mind playing him as my, somewhere in a low 2, more likely a 3. I don't really want anything else on that receiving core there. They all suck. The Broncos, 7. Sorry, I'm just frustrated. I'm not mincing words anymore. I'm just going to speak the truth. 8th worst matchup for the Broncos. This team also sucks. I don't mind starting Sutton as probably a 3 for me. Judy is flex-worthy, and Marvin Mims is a desperation stash at this point. I don't really love any of these options on either team, but I would be most likely – I think I like Sutton, followed by Rice, and then I don't really want anyone unless I'm forced into Judy. Thoughts?
Yeah. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is that, Patrick Surtain is out there roaming around the Broncos defensive backfield. He's by far been their best player, and they have been able to limit opposing wide receiver 1. So whether that's going to be Rashee and what they can do to mitigate that, who knows? But he's a bit riskier than he'll be. If you want to buy Rashee, you can probably still do it after this week.
Yeah, that's the one thing in their defense is Surtain's like a lockdown corner. He's good,
Yeah.
and he's going to give Rice problems. But I still have him above Sutton in my rankings, but they're basically back-to-back where they're like low-end wide receiver threes in this matchup. And you just,
Sneak a crush.
But I'm not playing Judy. Like, I'm just not doing it. And I just don't want it.
I have a team where I have Wilson stacked with Sutton and Judy, but I have other good options. I've been playing Sutton over Judy weekly.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Fourth best matchup for Travis Kelce. He's Travis Kelce, enough said. Middle of the pack matchup for the Broncos. All their tight ends suck.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid them all. I think Dulcich is on IR and Troutman is, I don't know.
The Trout God sucks.
Butker's been the best kicker in the league this year. Seventh best matchup. He is a must start. Will Lutz has not been great. Second worst matchup. He is a must avoid. Chiefs defense, ninth best matchup. I will play the shit out of them. They are probably top 4 for me. Whereas the Broncos get the 6th worst matchup, and they are a must avoid because they look like they couldn't stop a high school team. Any objections there, gentlemen?
No,
it just.
I think on Sleeper they're projected for twice as many points as the Broncos defense. So yeah, that should tell you all you need to know.
That's a conservative estimate.
Basically, we said you can probably play Sutton and no one else on the Broncos.
That's fair. That's fair. I believe I have a super flex league where I've started a position player over Russell Wilson. But all right, we got 4 games in 20 minutes, so let's fucking go.
Go, baby.
All right. Saints Broncos. Saints Colts. Starting at quarterback, middle of the pack matchup for Carr, who is a middle of the pack quarterback. He's a super flex option. I don't love him. Well, I don't love him. I do hate him. It sucks. I'm a Saints fan. He sucks. Gardner Minshew, 7th worst matchup. I don't like starting him either, although the Saints defense didn't look great last week. Minshew is either going to put you up 30 or he's going to put up 3. I lean on the 3 side because I don't think he's going to have another 2 rushing touchdowns. I think these 2 are low-end QB2s and are only super flex or desperation starts.
It's weird. Carr seems like he's the floor play, and Minshew's the just, I don't fucking know what's going to happen play. 30 points or -2. Like, I literally don't know what Minshew's going to do in this game. I just don't really want to play him.
Yeah, but I'll start Carr. Still not afraid of the Colts secondary. They had a good game, and they still gave up 38 or 30. I don't even know if they won or not last week. 38 or 39 points to P.J. Walker and company. So you can start Carr and feel confident that he's going to be back in quarterback 1.
Oh, I'm not afraid of the Colts secondary. I'm afraid of fucking Captain Guyliner over there. I don't want him in my fucking lineup.
Yeah.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Captain Guyliner, fucking Derek Carr and his eyeliner, fucking whatever it is.
Yeah.
Fucking Pirates of the Caribbean.
Sean Payton.
Whatever.
Taysom Hill, 20 snaps behind center this weekend.
Taysom Hill's the best quarterback on the roster. Anyway, moving on. Running backs. 6th best matchup for Alvin Kamara. He is a must start this week. I don't know, is Jamal Williams is back. He didn't do shit. Yeah. He's probably someone I'm holding just in case he gets some more touchdowns. Kendre Miller's probably a drop at this point unless it's deep dynasty league. The other side of the ball, Jonathan Taylor, 4th worst matchup. I don't care. He is once again an RB1, and I will be studying him as such. And I finally got to the end of the Zach Moss experience. He is the guy where I needed to this week. I didn't cut him, I don't think, in any leagues. I tried to trade him instead for pretty much anything I can get. So I have Kamara higher than Taylor, but I think they're both must starts. You?
Yeah. Kamara's like the RB1 for me. His usage is out of control. And Taylor finally cracks my top 12 running backs. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. Like, Moss still saw 20 touches last week. So, like,
yep, you can
the thing is, it's just a terrible defense to go against for Moss. Like, this is this is the problem. But, like, you could flex him if you really needed a desperation. Like, he'll still be involved.
Agree.
17th best matchup for the Saints. 22nd best for the Colts wide receivers. I'm still playing Olave as a 2. I'm playing Pittman as a 2. Shaheed, Michael Thomas, flex worthy, I think, or 3, wide receiver 3 flex range. Same can be said around Downs. Him and Shaheed, I guess, are probably the 2 with higher upside but more risk. Michael Thomas has no upside, but he's going to give you 8 to 10 fantasy points. Mm-hmm. So I think I would normally go Olave Pittman, but I didn't like what I seen last week from the Saints. I don't know if he's injured or just hates Derek Carr like I do. I'm going Pittman, Olave, Josh Downs, Michael Thomas, Raheed Shaheed.
Yeah, like I'm going to flip Pittman or Olave over Pittman just because I think it's gonna work out a little bit better for him. But yeah, they're low end wide receiver 2s for me this week, and then Downs, like you see his usage with Minshew, like he's going to hit him in the slot a ton, and it's gonna work out. And then Michael Thomas is the 10 points a week guy. I think that's just what you get.
Yeah, 7.5 targets per game for Michael Thomas. So he's going to convert those into points. If he scores a touchdown and manages to catch 5 or 6 balls, which he hasn't done yet this season, then he can have a good game. So, but I agree, Pittman over Olave slightly, but again, they're super close.
Tight ends, 6th worst matchup for the Colts. I don't want anything to do with any of them. Middle of the pack matchup for the Saints. I don't want Juwan Johnson. I think he's been ruled out. Anyways, I'm not sure. Foster Moreau is not bad. He's a desperation. He seems to be a decent safety valve for one read quarterback Derek Carr. I don't love him, but there's certainly worse options. Actually, if you want to stream a Saints tight end, I don't mind Taysom Hill, who's actually looked like a decent tight end. Yeah. Moving on to kicker, best matchup for Blake Grupe, who's actually been decent. I think he's a top 10 option for me this week. Middle of the pack matchup for Matt Gay. He hasn't been great. This matchup's not great. I don't really want to play him. He should be on your waiver wire. Saints defense is good in real life and average in fantasy. It's a middle of the pack matchup. If you've got them, they're probably startable. I don't love them. Colts, I think they're a little worse than the Saints. The matchup's a little better. I can start them if I have to, but I far prefer to start the Saints over the Colts. Any major points of disagreement?
No, we got a comment from SC. Yeah. But if I'm going tight end streamer, I'm just gonna let Taysom Hill go until he kills me. Like he's been involved in usage, so like you can definitely do worse than Taysom Hill this week.
The only problem is Juwan not ruled out yet, and he had a limited session on Wednesday, which is usually the rest day. So just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, if he comes back, then not so much Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
For me, it's Pittman. I just trust him more on this offense. Like the weird thing with like Kamara, like Olave's target share has dropped down dramatically. So like in that case, I'm just gonna roll with Pittman over Olave the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I agree. And the problem is Gardner Minshew too, right? Like it's not like Carr is a world beater, but Minshew is not Derek Carr. So it's a tough one for me, but I am giving the edge to Pittman. And I was really expecting more from Olave this year.
Me too.
Pittman. I think Olave looks hurt, and I think Derek Carr looks like shit, and Olave is just punched out. Next up, Patriots, Dolphins. This one should be fun. Yeah. Dolphins, 6th worst matchup for Tua. I don't care. You play him every week as a middle of the pack QB1. He seems to really beat the living crap out of bad teams, and I realize the Patriots, for the most part, are a good defense, but they are a bad team. So I like Tua. Mac Jones is the 5th best matchup. I don't particularly care. He's a flex option for me. He's too inconsistent. There's no real upside. So Tua's probably top 5 or 6 for me. Mac Jones somewhere down in the 18 range. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you can stream Mac in this matchup. I know it sounds gross, but like the way they went about their offense last week, if they continue that, like he's going to be reliable.
You were referring to super flex or 1 QB for you can stream
super flex.
Just clarifying.
Yeah. If you're desperate, and you have no one else, then like on the waiver wire, I would be okay playing Mac Jones in this matchup. I just don't trust Miami's defense passing wise, man. They've been getting shredded. So yeah, I'll go with that, and it could burn me, but. Like what I saw last week was enough to move forward where I'm like, okay, their offense is okay. It's not dead.
Yeah. I'm a Pats fan and I want nothing to do with Mac Jones. I think I have 1 or 2 dynasty shares. And after that Bills game, we know the Bills are decimated. I'm just trying to move him for whatever. I might take an early second at this point. But on the other side of Tua, look, we know that the Patriots and Bill Belichick kind of scheme up against your best player. That best player may not be Tyreek Hill. Whatever Tua said in a press conference, maybe it's just the fact that he's young and inexperienced with these sorts of things. But he said some weird stuff about Tyreek Hill maybe not being available now and in the near future. So, I'm just going to monitor the hell out of that. And if Tyreek isn't on the field and we're talking about limiting Jalen Waddle for Bill Belichick, it could be a rough day for Tua.
That's true. Yeah.
Running backs, 14th best matchup for the Dolphins, 15th best for the Patriots. I want Ramondre Stevenson only as a low-end RB2. Even that might be a stretch. He's more like a 3 the way he's playing. The Dolphins are confusing for me. Raheem Mostert should be an automatic start. I'm not sure Raheem Mostert plays this week. Jeff Wilson is not someone I wanted to start, but Jeff Wilson might actually play this week. I don't know what I want to do with these Dolphins. If Mostert is healthy, I play him, but I'm worried he might be a decoy and Jeff Wilson could get more run. I'm also worried Mostert could be full go and Wilson could just be a decoy, and I don't know how to read this. Both injuries scare me. This is a scary backfield considering how productive it's been. What do you guys think?
Right.
Well, there's
go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's no way Mike McDaniels is going to tip his hand here to Bill Belichick. That's for sure, right? But yeah, if Mostert's on the shelf, it's definitely dicey. I mean, Salvon Ahmed got some run last week as well, 37% of the snaps. So you just don't know what to expect here. Wilson was used kind of sparingly, as you can see by the fantasy points or whatever that number is that he totaled last week. But yeah, on the other side of the ball, all right, Stevenson only had 15 touches last week. Elliott's getting the goal line work. It's just ugly all around. If Mostert's out, I don't know if I really want to play everyone with 0 buys this week.
Yeah, if Mostert's out, then Stevenson's going to be my highest ranked running back in this matchup.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's at. It's just, he's going to get checked downs. He'll be okay. It's just the ceiling doesn't seem like it's there, though.
Sad. That's another sad one.
Mm-hmm.
9th best matchup for the Patriots wide receivers. One sec. It is the 20th best matchup for the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is a must start if he plays, obviously. Jalen Waddle has solidified himself as basically a mid-range wide receiver 2 with some upside. You play him. If he's out, if Hill's out, Braxton Berrios has some flex appeal.
Yep.
On the Patriots side of the ball, I'm starting Kendrick Bourne probably as a 3, and I don't really want anything to do with anyone else aside from stashing DeMario Douglas. What do you guys think?
That's exactly what I was going to say, stash DeMario Douglas. But yeah, like if Hill's out, Waddle is going to jump up. Like he's going to be a top 12, 15 option for me this week.
Yeah.
So if he's out, then you're riding with Waddle because he's that good and that electric. Like they'll find ways to get him open. And yeah, you can play Berrios, and then Kendrick Bourne's going to burn us at some point. Like this is Kendrick Bourne's career. He does, but like you just ride it. He's been involved. You've seen the usage, and you just keep going with it.
Yeah, weeks 2 through 5 for Bourne. He didn't get more than 8.6 PPR fantasy points. He wasn't better than that wide receiver 52. In the other 3 weeks, that's 1, 6, and 7. He was wide receiver 5, wide receiver 10, wide receiver 15. You just don't know what you're getting, right? So I'm gonna kind of wait and see here. And even though the Dolphins suck, so do the Patriots. So I don't trust it.
Tight end, the Hunter Henry train seems to have derailed. He's a desperation at this point. Want nothing to do with him. Durham Smythe, I want even less to do with, so sit both tight ends. Kicker, best matchup for Sanders, who has been good for the Dolphins. I'm starting him as a top 10 option. Chad Ryland has been middle of the pack. The matchup's middle of the pack. You can probably find better streamers out there. DSTs, it is a 3rd best matchup for the Dolphins. I like them. Patriots can't score worth crap. Not a huge believer in the Dolphins defense. Still starting them as a top 10 option. And I want nothing to do with the Patriots. It's a terrible matchup. The Dolphins could put up 70. I don't think they will, but at any point, I want nothing to do with facing the Dolphins with my DST. Any disagreements?
I'll just say if Tyreek and Mostert are out, that could be really interesting for the Patriots defense. So I wouldn't hate it in that case. Otherwise, I'll stay away.
I still don't know if I want to start them.
Fair.
The downside is they could just be on the field nonstop, and
that one's in Miami, right? The Patriots have been playing well at home, but yeah, I would still lean towards starting them if both of those guys are out.
All right, where'd Jesse go?
He's evaporated, like
ran
my Raheem Mostert, or like my Ramondre Stevenson value.
Fair enough. It's right there with the Najee Harris value. Anyways, moving on. We got Falcons and Titans. We got about 9 minutes to wrap up too, so let's get it in here. Quarterbacks, they both suck. Desmond Ridder, 11th worst matchup. I want nothing to do with him. Even in Superflex, he's a desperation for me. On the other side of the ball at the Titans, word is it's Will Levis this week. Whether it's Will Levis, whether it's Malik Willis, it's a middle of the pack matchup. I don't want either young quarterback for the Titans. So somehow Desmond Ritter's the best of the 3 quarterbacks in this one, as if that's not the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, yes. Let's talk about this instead.
Yes, 100%. Trade DK for Ayuk. Yes, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yep. You want Ayuk.
Wait, you're getting Ayuk, right? He's getting Ayuk? Yeah.
Or Ayuk, yeah.
Easily.
I would.
Okay, well, let's just move on to running back since nobody wants anything.
Please.
Henry, second worst matchup here against Atlanta. I don't care. I'm playing him. He seems to be more like high-end RB2 right now, but either way, he's not a must start, but he's a probably start. Bijan is scary. He's getting all he's producing, but he's not producing what we thought he would be. He gets the 12th worst matchup, but much like Henry, I'm probably starting him. Oh, I am starting him anyways. I expect more like a low-end RB1 output, but that's just because, he's not getting the workload and this offense sucks. Thoughts?
Yeah, the floor is just always lower with Derrick Henry. He's like game script dependent. If they get like trailed behind, which likely is not going to happen because they're playing the Falcons, but if they fall behind by a lot, it becomes Spears time. So like just keep that in mind. So I'm always gonna have Bijan above Henry. Like that's just what it is.
Do we have any word about what happened with Bijan last week, or is it still just speculation?
Headaches,
just migraines and stuff. Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, listen, I'm firing him up. I mean, I know Tennessee is really difficult against the run, but they're super easy against the pass. So Bijan can still see his usual load of about 6 targets. I'll definitely start him as a high-end RB2 at worst this week.
Wide receivers, we have the 8th best matchup for the Falcons. I'm starting London as a low 2, high 3. I don't want any other Falcons receiver. 6th worst matchup for the Titans. I can use D-Hop as a risky 3 if you got him. He seems to be boom or bust. Looks great, looks terrible. And I don't really want anyone else. I think Treylon Burks is still out. Is that what the deal is? But both options we have here look like London and Hopkins look like they're probably just wide receiver 3s, but I can start them both. Thoughts?
Yeah, London's a much better option. Like he's about 20 spots ahead of Hopkins for me this week. Like he's been involved in that offense. He's basically seen at least 7 targets each week since week 1, and he's been the focal point. Like when I broke down the game, I saw that like it was definitely Drake London is a very big part of that offense. Yeah, I don't really want to play any other like pass catching option like in this game. Like besides that, like just no thank you.
If Levis gets the majority of these snaps at quarterback, I'll be surprised this week. So I certainly don't want anything to do with D-Hop. He could turn in a wide receiver 3 performance, sure. He could find the end zone, sure. But no, I'm staying away. And like you said, London, well over him.
Yeah, I have more confidence in Hopkins with Levis than I do Willis, at least. So, like, there's that aspect. But, like, it's just a small amount. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah. 7th worst matchup for the Falcons tight ends. I don't care. I'm starting Kyle Pitts. He's looked better lately. He's probably top 7 or 8 for me, right around mid-range tight end 1. 9th best matchup for the Titans. Okonkwo's a risky start. I had high hopes for him. He's just not getting the volume or the production. He's a desperation start at best. There's probably better options. I'd hold on to him for Dynasty, though. Kickers. We have Younghoe Koo, 2nd best matchup. He hasn't been great, but I think you've got to just stream him in this one and hope he turns it around or cut bait soon. Middle of the pack matchup for Nick Folk. Hasn't been good. Not a great matchup, just mediocre. Get rid of him. You probably don't roster him anyways. 12th best matchup for the Falcons DST. I don't love them, period. I don't really want anything to do with them if I can avoid them, but they're not the worst. Similar can be said about the Titans, who get a slightly more favorable matchup in the Falcons, but I don't think I need to avoid either, but I don't really want to start either of them unless I'm really forced into it. What are your thoughts?
So I will say with Kyle Pitts, it's a downward trend the last 3 weeks. He's seen less than 60% of snaps and less than 75% of routes in the last 3 games. So like, just keep that in mind with Pitts. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it just doesn't make any sense. He's like a high end 2 tight end 2 for me this week.
Yeah, and we didn't mention it, but John again has also seen a downward trend in the last 2 weeks, but he's still startable if you need him. He was the tight end 4 2 weeks ago, the tight end 21 last week, but you can still start him if you need him.
Yep.
All right, let's close it up with Jags at Steelers. What an exciting matchup that is. At quarterback. Yeah. We have the – where the hell is it? Middle of the pack matchup for Trevor Lawrence. I don't care. He's more like a low end QB1 for me. I'm going to play him. 7th best matchup for Kenny Pickett, who still looks like crap. He's a super flex option only. I don't think he's my QB 19. Not great. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Pickett's terrifying. Like, it's just gonna be real. Like, he's not good. At least he has a Pickens and Deontay Johnson, so he has that going for him. But man, like, I have Mac Jones above him in my rankings, so that should tell you all you need to know about how to go Kenny Pickett this week. So yeah, no, thank you. And T-Law, Trevor Lawrence, it's been hit or miss, but like, you just got to keep betting on him. One of these weeks is gonna be a blow up week for him. This could be the blow up week.
I don't know. I don't see it against the Steelers. I really don't want much to do with Trevor Lawrence right now. I think after the bye, after San Francisco in Week 10, it gets a lot nicer for him. I don't really want to start him in this matchup. And I would go as far as to say you might even want to start. You don't want to, but you might, Kenny Pickett may outscore him this week. With Deontay back.
Want to is a bit of a strong word for that situation.
Exactly.
I don't know if I ever want to start Kenny Pickett over
You
anyone.
certainly never want to start Kenny Pickett.
Maybe Desmond Ritter, but I don't even know in that case. It's ugly. They're not good quarterbacks. I'm still going Lawrence.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, moving on to running back here. Excuse me, I'm getting sick. You can tell I'm fading here. Top 10 matchup for ETN. He is a top 5 running back for me. I am starting him with absolute certainty. 22nd best, so 11th worst matchup for the Steelers. Najee, Jalen Warren, don't like either of them. Flex options at best for me. The prize here is Travis Etienne. Thoughts?
ETN all day. Like, we saw the way that the Steelers running backs made it last week is touchdowns. Like, that's the only way they were viable for you. Otherwise, it's like 6 and 8 points for them. So yeah, ETN's a stud. He's the top 5 running back moving forward. He's just great, and the way his usage is off the charts.
Yeah, and we know the Steelers' offense can move the ball with Deontay back, so it's possible those running backs can fall into the end zone weekly against the meh Jaguars D. I don't mind it if you have to, but yeah, ETN is the stud here.
It's the meh.
Meh.
All right, we have the Steelers, who are the 10th best matchup. I don't mind Deontay or Pickens as a wide receiver 2. I think Deontay is on the low end, closer to a 3. Pickens has actually been a mid to high end wide receiver 2 for me, and I don't mind him. I'm starting to buy back in after jumping ship. Second best matchup for the Jags receivers here. I love me some Christian Kirk. I like to start Ralvin Kidley as the wide receiver 3 he is. What are your thoughts? I think I'd go Kirk, Pickens, Deontay, Kidley.
I'm flipping Deontay and Kidley. Like, so Ridley's going to be above Deontay. It's just he's inefficient. It's always what it's been. So yeah, I'm higher on Pickens than I am Deontay Johnson, which I thought I would never say in my life, but that's where I'm at with this offense right now. And yeah, Christian Kirk, like, they're scheming the way they're using Ridley is they're scheming him up touches to get Kirk open, basically how it works. So yeah, Kirk's the wide receiver you want on these 4.
Yeah, and that's really sad, especially since he's out there running the routes and he's been seeing the looks in most of the games, but Ridley is just not getting it done. There's no more excuses now. If he can't put it together this week, it's already panic time, but it doesn't get a whole lot better after the bye with San Francisco. So, this offense needs to kind of do some soul searching during their bye week next week and figure out how they want to, win games moving forward. They should probably use their best players.
You can say that about both offenses.
That's true.
Let's close this out. Second best matchup for the Steelers tight ends. I do not mind starting Freiermuth if he's healthy and in the game. He's probably a low-end 1 for me. It's a little risky. Bad matchup for Evan Ingram, but I do not care. I'm going to play him anyways. 4th worst matchup, but he's been a medium to high-end, high-range tight end 1. I'm starting him every week. What the hell was that?
Real quick on Fry. I don't know what that was. Jesse's been eating.
Someone clogged the toilet?
Real quick on Freiermuth. He's on IR. So you're looking at Darnell Washington or
isn't he off IR?
No, he just went on 5 days ago.
Back on
IR.
IR.
Like 3 weeks.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So
that was my dog.
So yeah, and that's the big problem. But that's also why I like Deontay because he's going to take over that role over the middle.
Yeah,
that's very disappointing to me. Anyways,
quick question from SC. I'll answer this one. I said the other day that I would sell Ridley for Rashee Rice at this point.
Yes.
So I don't love that. I was huge on Ridley in the offseason, but that's a deal I think you can get done, especially if Ridley looks decent and Rashi goes down this week, against Surtain. But I don't hate that deal.
Now, if I'm trading Rashi Rice, it's for Devon Aching. Moving on. All right, so at the kicker, we've got Brandon McManus, 11th worst matchup, hasn't been great. I am sitting him. Boswell is on here somewhere. You would think. Oh, there it is. 4th worst matchup. He hasn't been great either. The Steelers don't kick a whole lot. I want to sit both kickers in this matchup. As far as the DST goes, middle of the pack matchup for both. Neither is a great option. Neither is a terrible option. I think I would go Jags over Steelers. I wanted to say Steelers. I like their defense better, but I like the Jags offense better. So I would go Jags over Steelers. What are your thoughts?
Me too. I'm going to play the Jags defense over the Steelers. And Ingram's like a locked in tight end one. He's just solid. You know what you're getting out of him. I'm not even considering playing a Steelers tight end. Like, just hell no. I don't want Connor Hayward or any of that freaking blocking 6th offensive lineman. They got Darnell Washington. No, thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And Ingram, just looking at it, has been dominating every week. He's the worst he's been is tight end 7, with the exception of a weird week 5 in Buffalo where he's tight end 20. Tight end 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, and 12 last week. So he's a tight end 1. He's locked in, like you said.
All right. Well, that concludes a total clusterfuck of a show with technical difficulties, graphical difficulties, my computer dying, everything. Just a great show. That's a real indicator of what Week 8 is going to look like. So
good job, us.
This concludes our NFL Week 8 AFC home game shit show fantasy football preview. Gotta be fun. For Aaron, Jesse, and Jeremy, I can't even talk. Sorry, I'm choking on my throat's gone. Thank you for tuning into the Mad Science Lab podcast. Check back in tomorrow at noon or 12:30, where we will stumble through yet another show. This time it will be the NFC side of this wonderful Week 8 shit show. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.